after I had a couple of my children, I had postpartum depression, and then I had an episode of situational depression. And from that, I've always known like mental health is real and it's important. And so, as I've been working with youth and my team, I've always kind of had the mental health piece, especially after COVID, kind of more amplified itself. And so I'd always been taking time to learn and how I can be a better employee or employer and a better like mentor to those youth that I come in contact with. And so when I had known about mental health first aid, I had heard many people going through it, but one day I felt like I really needed to take the mental health first aid class. And so I did that, and little did I know that I would be using that very rapidly after that class. One of the things that I had taken away from the class is like taking note of little details of how people are, and if anything changes that like drastically, that maybe you should be paying attention, that maybe something more is going on there. And so that actually did happen one day. One of my employees, who is super bubbly and happy, came in, and she was like extra bubbly. So it wasn't that she was extra sad, it was like the exact opposite of her, like extra in her normal personality, which you think when people are suffering from mental health, you usually think of sad. But it was just something, it wasn't anything big. And so I just thought, oh, you must have had a great weekend with your child, and it must have been, a great weekend. And she comes bounding back just as happy, and she's like, actually, no, I'm having a manic episode and I feel like killing myself. And it was such a shock to my system, and immediately it was like, oh, you need to implement some of these things that you like learned in the class, like asking the question, are you going to kill yourself? Because that's the case, we need to go like get help right now more than what I'm going to be able to help you with, right? But no. And so then, just having the space to like listen, talk, said, we don't need to open the store right now. Like, let's get this in a manageable place for you. And so, and like, okay, what are the next steps for you? Like, how can I help? Do we need to call, the mental health hotline? Do we and so, nope, as long as I'm here and I'm busy, I'm going to be fine. And so I just encouraged her. She's here by herself. So she really had, like, our team was her support system, and then her family, who lived quite far away, like in another state. And so, like, you need to call your family, let them know. I will be talking to you in the morning to see how you're doing. And so in the course of that, she was able to get the help that she needs and be surrounded by her family. With her, we really did sit down and say, okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow. So there's something for her to like look forward to. And, when she was getting off of work, like, you're going to call your family. Yes, I'm going to talk to my family, and then we're going to talk again in the morning. So that way I knew she had some, like, because of her personality, she's super responsible. So I knew, she's like, oh, yes, I'm going to call my family and I'm going to be reporting it to you in the morning, right? So for her, that was like the right step. Afterwards, I didn't realize it right away. It is quite mentally taxing to go through something like that. You're just like, oh, I helped this person. And then you're like, that was a little more traumatic than I thought it was going to be. So that is one of the steps, I think, that as you take that class, it's not only about helping other people, but after you help someone, you really do have to take some time for yourself afterwards to kind of evaluate how you're feeling. With that one, she's my employee. I love her. And still like check up on her. But I was able to kind of like, okay, this happened. You knew this when you hired her. You know, she had shared things with you, which I was super grateful she shared. So it made that space very open to like talking about mental health. And we do try to talk about mental health, like making sure everyone's mental health is taken care of within our spaces. Even scheduling around counseling appointments and things like that. Those, like, for me, are like number one, because if you aren't taking care of that piece, then you can't take care of other people either. So those are some of the key things. I think one thing I would love everyone to learn is mental health is just, if you can have it be part of the conversation, like if someone has, you know, I think the cliche is like if someone has diabetes, we don't treat them weird for going to get the help that they need, right? But just having to be part of, like, it's not how are you doing, but like, no, really, how are you doing in all the ways, right? Like, and being approachable and knowing that, and that's why that youth did reach out to me, is because I had talked about mental health and like was teaching like how to do Nidra yoga and like, if we write down 5 things every day that we're grateful for, right? And so just like talking about things that you do for your own mental health, we do them all the time. We don't maybe quantify them as like, this is for my mental health. If you go out running, there's probably a reason why you do that, or right? So there are things that we do that are for our mental health, and we talk about them and frame them that way, then people will reach out to you when they need you the most.